Hey everybody, pardon me. I know I'm running a moment late today. I got absolutely caught in a report. Let me just make sure everything's streaming correctly, and then let's meet each other on the floor. Go ahead, grab 2 blocks. Highly recommend having at least these 2 blocks for today's class. We are starting in kneeling, so you might want that block to begin with. If you find that kneeling is uncomfortable for you, I'm going to grab 2 blocks of the same size. I find this of value. Then perhaps you even place 1 block under your glutes, between your legs, finding a little bit of a lift so that there's less pressure uh, onto the tops of your ankles, which might be really tight. Relax your shoulders away from your ears, chin neutral towards your chest. Find a spot to relax your eyes in front of you. Start to relax your breath, your body, and start to clear your mind. Whatever else it is that might have been going on before this class or that you're going to have to attend to after class, I promise it's all still going to be there. But you created this time for yourself, so enjoy it. Take advantage of this opportunity. Slow your breath down. Make your exhale longer than your inhale. Relax your heart rate. Relax yourself. Keep in mind throughout class, if your eyes are moving, your mind is moving. So either close or focus on one spot. As we move through some of the stretches, no stretch so deep that you are holding your breath. Find the edge where you can still breathe. That's how we create more space, create more relaxation. When you're holding your breath, that's when we start to panic and feel a little tense. If you want to set an intention for today's class, now is an awesome time to do so. Whether you are reflecting on a positive thought or affirmation, or you're sending some really good energy to someone out there, maybe even just trying to pull in some extra love for yourself. I just want to remind you that you're worth it and you're worthy, and there is no one better to be than yourself. We're here, and today is going to be an amazing day. So if your thoughts start to wander, come back to all the positive thoughts and intentions that you can. We've got just a couple breaths left right here. Great. If kneeling is uncomfortable for you, I invite you to change up to a more comfortable seated position because we're going to hang out here for a little bit longer. Either bringing your hand to a block by your right side or all the way down towards the floor. We're creating that half moon shape on the left. Inhale your left arm up towards the sky. Do your best to really stack those shoulders. Maybe even a little shift of your hips. Your glutes can still be on a block, or maybe they come to a block right now for some support. Bring all 5 fingers of your left hand together next to each other for a little bit of support and engage through your back left shoulder, like you're trying to touch it against an imaginary wall behind you so that the shoulders are stacked. We're not collapsing towards the floor. And then find a place that feels comfortable to relax your head. Maybe your eye gaze is forward. If it's uncomfortable on your neck, slightly more relaxing can be turning your head down towards the floor while still keeping your chest open. Slightly more challenging is turning your eye gaze up towards the ceiling, even working to line up your chin, your thumb, your nose, your elbow, and shoulder. Find a place where you can stay and create your stillness. We've got less than a minute to go. Long, slow, deep, uninterrupted. Energetically keep reaching up through your left hand fingertips. One more full cycle of breath. And then on your next inhale, we're going to lift ourselves up. Option to bring both arms up overhead, or maybe you relax your left hand down towards the floor. We're going to switch over to the right side. Whole new side of the body. No judgment, no expectation. Maybe left hand can easily reach the floor. Maybe you want to bring a block back to the party. Find that shift from your hips to the right side, creating that side body stretch, that half moon shape, and make sure you're not collapsing down towards the floor. So open your chest, press your right shoulder blade against the imaginary wall behind you. Maybe that even means that your left shoulder drew a little bit more forward. We got into the setup a little bit faster on this side. Take your time though, finding once again where it feels good for your head. Eye gaze can be forward, medium challenge, let's say. Eye gaze can be down to the floor. Eye gaze can be up towards the ceiling. And whether you're looking up towards the ceiling or somewhere else, bring all 5 fingers of your right hand together side by side. Stretch those fingers up towards the ceiling. Keep your breath. We've got less than a minute to go here. Shoulders relaxed away from your ears. Long, slow, deep, intentional exhale. Breathing in through your nose and exhaling out through your nose or mouth. You energetically reach a little bit more on these last 2 breaths. And on your next exhale, we're going to rain our right hand down next to the left hand. You can walk it all the way out in front of you and come into tabletop. And from tabletop, you get to cat cow. A little bit of free movement here. I'm going to give you 2 whole minutes in your cat cow before we come into a big toe stretch. That gives you lots of opportunities for some shakes side to side. It also gives you plenty of opportunity for some traditional cat cow, just rounding and flexing your spine. Take some time, shake your head yes and no. Maybe you hold in a stretch for a little bit longer than usual. Okay, so next up is big toe stretch. This one can become pretty intense pretty quickly. Reminder that if you find that you're holding your breath, if the stretch moves from being to then move back to where you feel a little bit more and just work to create your stillness. Better to find a gentle version of the stretch that you can hold for a longer period of time than to come out and in. So where can you be today and just enjoy it? All right, tuck your toes under. We're trying to get as much of the underside of the feet to the floor. So think about spreading your toes out and then some pressure, heels coming towards the back of the mat. From here, hands might stay on the floor. This might be enough for you. Otherwise, starting to walk your hands to your knees. We're going to come back towards kneeling. Hands can be on the floor. Hands can be on a block. Perhaps you walk yourself up. Hands are on your thighs. Can you stack your head over your shoulders, over your hips, over your heels? And it's really okay if the answer is no, or if you tried it and it didn't work. Find your holding spot. We've got 1 minute to go here. Relax your eyes. Stay tuned into your breath. If your breath is relaxed, you can do anything. On your next exhale, slowly bring your hands back to the floor into tabletop. Same slowness that you went into the posture. Untuck your toes. You can tap the tops of the feet down on the floor. Ooh. Awesome. From here, we're going to walk knees up a little bit, cross your ankles, and then roll over onto your glutes. Or if you need to find another way to come into Sukhasana, a comfortable, easy seated position, then please do so. If you came into a seated position and your knees were all the way up towards your chest, please sit yourself up on a block or a folded towel so you can find a little bit more slope in your legs. You don't have to have your legs crisscross applesauce as deeply as me. Maybe you have one foot in front of the other. Maybe that just doesn't feel good and you extend your legs long. We're going to ground the sit bones to the floor or your block. Find some lift in your chest and just breathe and be for the next 2 minutes. If you have not set an intention for your practice and your mind is anywhere but this inhale, noticing how your body feels, and that exhale, letting go, then now is the time for you to set an intention and focus. Allow your elbows to hang heavy towards the floor. I lost track of time a little. I think that was 2 minutes. All right, next up, we're going to come into melting heart pose. So hands can come to the floor. Draw yourself back up into tabletop. Walk those knees in a little bit. And you might want to bring a block with you, perhaps a block that will come under your chest. So hips stay on top of knees as you start to walk your hands forward. Big stretch in the upper back as your chest comes to the block or the floor. You can make this one a little bit easier, tucking your head down towards the mat. Maybe a little pressure into your hands, palms, pressure of your knees towards the floor. If you want a little bit more, your chin can stretch forward. Perhaps your chest came all the way down towards the mat. If you need a little bit less, glutes can sink back towards your heels. Otherwise, think of yourself as the most gorgeous dog ever who's doing the best big stretch, creating as much length as you can from the crown of your head. Really more so even like the back of your neck, especially if your chin is forward, all the way down to your tailbone. Got just over a minute to go right here. Can you even create a stretch in your glutes? So pressing your knees down towards the floor and finding some, let's see, internal, external, a little external rotation from your hips. So pressing your knees down and out into the mat can engage your glutes a little bit more, a nice little stretch into your hamstring, maybe even feel a little bit more supportive and take some of the stress out of your back. Stay right there. I'm just going to check my notes because I don't remember where I'm taking us from here. I now remember. All right, start to relax a little bit of the pressure of the knees to the floor. You can start to walk your hands in. We're going to come back through to tabletop. Go ahead and move your block to the side. If you are using one, you can give yourself a really slow cat, round your back as much as possible. And then a very intentional cow. Pull your chest forward, heart coming through your arms. Awesome, neutral tabletop. Keep your right hand down on the floor, hips stacked on top of knees. Inhale, left arm up towards the sky. And then exhale, thread the needle. Bring your left ear down towards the mat. You can keep your right hand right where it is. Maybe this is the stretch that your body needs today. But if you want a little bit more, option to walk your right hand fingers forward. Maybe you even allow that right armpit to sink down to the mat. Stretching your glutes back towards your heels. Let's hang out here for 1 minute, and then I'm going to give you an option for a chest opener. You can stay right here as you are, or perhaps you walk, wiggle your right hand fingers to the left side of the mat, and then work to open up that right chest and shoulder. Energetically reaching your left hand fingers to the right side of the room, pressing that left shoulder down towards trying to open your chest. You still have some pressure in the right knee towards the mat. So your hips are ideally still stacked pretty much on top of the knees, as opposed to shifting too much over to the right. We're opening our chest. If you walked your hands all the way over to the right, the left, walk it over to the right. Drag it back in underneath of your shoulder. Push into your hand palm. Use your inhale. We're going to send left arm all the way up to the sky. Rotate, opposite direction. Exhale, left hand back down to the floor. One really slow cat. One really slow cow. Find your neutral tabletop. This time, left hand is going to stay down on the mat. On your inhale, right arm high to the sky. Open your chest. Look up towards your hand. Eye gaze follows your hand. As you thread the needle, right arm weaves underneath of left. Right ear comes towards the floor. You can stay right here. You can stay here the whole time if you want, with your left hand on the floor, finding some support. Still a great stretch into that left shoulder blade, upper back. If you want a little bit more or something different, walk your left hand forward. I'm going to go ahead and keep my left hand close by my chest because things are feeling really tight and uncomfortable there. You don't have to do the same thing on both sides of your body, but I'm going to give you the dialogue just in case you do want to find the same stretches. We got a couple breaths left here, wherever you are. If you would like to find that chest opener and your left hand was at the top of the mat, wiggle your fingers to the right side of the mat. Push into your hand palm, into your thumb, and then rotate your chest towards the left side of the room. But keep some pressure in that left knee to the floor. Remember, if you come into a stretch and it doesn't feel good or you're limiting your breath, come back to where your breath is as slow and deep and full as possible. And with time, your flexibility will increase. Things will become better, different. Nice, nice, nice. If you wiggled your left hand to the right side of the mat, wiggle it back over to the left. Drag your hand back in line under your chest and shoulders. Once it's there, press into your left hand palm. Inhale, right arm all the way high to the sky. Exhale, right hand all the way down to the floor. One more cat. One more cow. And then we've got child's pose. Option to open your knees a little bit wider, bring your toes together. Send your glutes back towards your heels. Walk your hands as far forward as you would like. I'm starting with a nice wide-legged child's pose. We're going to change up our arms in about 3 minutes, though, especially if you have your arms all the way forward, taking a nice stretch into the shoulders. We're going to relax the shoulders in 3 minutes. So just find what you can do. Arms can still have a generous bend in front of you. Just breathe. Here we are also in our first big forward fold of the day. So tune back into your breath. On your inhale, fill your lungs so much that you create expansion on the backside body ribs. Can you feel it all the way in your upper back? And on your exhale, can you create a little bit more length through your tailbone, stretching back towards your heels? Final minute here with arms forward. Great. As always, this is your practice. You are your own teacher. So if you want to stay here for these next 2 minutes and not move, you can. However, if you want to relax your shoulders, your back a little bit more, drag your fingers all the way back towards your heels. Maybe you walk your legs in a little closer. I'll walk my legs in a little closer so that my thighs can support my belly. So there's a little less pressure in the neck. Just changing the stretch. We're here for 2 minutes. A total of 5 amazing minutes in our child's pose. Continue to take your big breaths to the back side of your ribs. Excuse me. All right, if your fingers are to the back of the mat, drag your fingers forward, flip your hands palms over under your chest and shoulders. Slowly press yourself up. And we're going to flip over onto our glutes. We're spending the rest of the class on our back, and here's where our 2 blocks come into play. Our first posture is going to be a supported fish pose. So we're continuing with a lot of heart openers. That's what's happening today. We got some heart openers. You're going to take 1 block, whether it's on the high side or maybe it's on the lower side. Lower side is going to be a lot less pressure, might be a little easier. We're going to set both of these blocks up so that as you lay back, it's going to support your upper back and your head. I like my back block on the low side, but if you're feeling really tight, if your neck is really tight and uncomfortable, you might want that back block on the high side. Every day is different, so no judgment, no expectations. Carefully lower yourself down. No pressure on those super low floating ribs, though. Lots of, oh, this actually feels great with that high block at the back. Okay. Lots of pressure into your upper back and then glutes relax down on the floor. You can start to play with your spinal flexion here. Maybe you're overemphasizing the arch of the bridge, even hugging the block with your shoulder blades, or maybe you're being a little bit more relaxed. Maybe there's a big lift of your heart, the focus on the upper back bend. Realize I cannot see the timer. We're here for the next 5 minutes. You can have your legs bent. You can have your legs straight. You can open your legs wide. I like to take a little either recline bound angle, bringing the soles of the feet together, allowing knees to fall open nice and wide. So, opportunity that as you're opening your heart, you can also open your hips and really release any of your stored thoughts, emotions, energy, and then opening your heart so that we're so ready and available for the better things that the universe has to bring to us. We're making space in our bodies, in our breath, and in our mind for all of the great things to come. Another moment to come back to your intention if you set one. And if you didn't, I'm just going to remind you the wonderful thoughts such as you're worthy, you're worth it. There is no one better to be than yourself. Today is going to be an amazing day. Anything is possible. We got 1 minute left right here. We're going to come out as close to the opposite as the way you went in. So if you made an adjustment with your legs, perhaps you bring the soles of the feet back down to the floor. Arms can come by your side. Think about pressing into your elbows and perhaps rolling to one side to, as carefully as possible, remove the blocks. If this is a new posture for you, it might have looked real messy, and that's totally okay. Once you're down to the floor, keep a block by your side, walk those feet in, soles of the feet underneath of your knees, and on your next inhale, lift yourself up, slide your block under your back on the low or the high portion. We're going to place the low portion right at your low back so your glutes just gently hang off the side. You might already feel a nice stretch in your belly. If you want a little bit more, you can twist yourself up into the higher portion of the block. I'm going to enjoy this nice lower side of the block today. You can stay right here in a gentle supported glute bridge, or you have the option to walk your feet out a little further away from your center line. Maybe you extend your arms out to the side in a goalpost arms, elbows bent, palms facing up. Maybe you grab hold of your opposite elbow for even more of a stretch through your lats and your shoulders. Find a space where you can relax. This is our last long posture before our final savasana. Freddy's. Don't do that. Fred. Oh, the relaxing joys of bird ownership. Sorry, companionship. Companionship, I meant, Fred. You've got You've got another minute right here. I'm just going to bribe this birdie so that we can enjoy ourselves for our last 6 minutes of class. So just keep breathing. Enjoy her delightful plucks of the cage runs. Great. Last few breaths here in your supported glute bridge. If you brought your arms up overhead, return your arms back down by your side for some support. If you walked or wiggled your legs or feet further to the bottom of the mat, walk or wiggle your legs back in so that the soles of the feet are stacked under your knees. On your inhale, squeeze your glutes, lift your hips up, remove your block, and then one vertebrae at a time, melt your spine down on the floor. Once it's there, one knee at a time, draw your knees up towards your chest. Tuck your chin to your chest with the back of your head on the floor. Stretch your elbows down towards your hips. And then still holding onto your knees, give yourself a couple circles in one direction. Massage your low back sacrum one time on the floor. And then change the direction of those knee circles. Let's take one final inversion while we're on our mats. So legs up towards the ceiling. You can have your knees generously bent. You can have your hands behind your thighs, relaxing the edges of your shoulders towards the floor as much as possible for some happy baby. Maybe you want your legs up the imaginary wall, encouraging that lymphatic draining to the heart. Maybe you want to grab hold of your big toes and extend your legs out nice and wide for a bigger stretch on your inner thighs. It is your choice. We have 1 minute left right here. Wherever you are, notice if your back starts to round up off of the floor. And even if it's just like one vertebrae at a time, moving from the back of your head, from the edges of your shoulder, from your middle back, your low back, can you try and press each section of your spine to the mat for a moment, even if it's just a moment, and then it rises back up. Nicely done. Go ahead, bring the soles of the feet back together. Release your feet to the floor and extend your legs out nice and long. Heels can touch, toes can fall open, legs can be open wide, arms can be open wide. If your back is not feeling its best, perhaps you keep your knees bent and you tent them towards each other. Back of the head flat on the floor, melting into your final savasana. Also, an asana, not a throwaway posture. This corpse pose, when we take our final stillness, is your opportunity to let today's practice really sink in, to seep through your whole body. It's another opportunity to inhale, notice how you're feeling. And do you feel any different than when class started? On your exhale, continue to let go of any thoughts or feelings, stress or tension, whether it's still there from the beginning of class, whether it came up during class. You're here. It's for you. Enjoy it. Deep inhale in through your nose. All of the positive thoughts, vibes, feelings. You're worth it. You're worthy. There's no one better to be than you. And exhale, let go of anything that you don't need. Stress, tension, negative stuff. Audience. Every exhale, can you let go a little bit more? Can you find a little bit more space to relax, to release? I'm going to leave you down here on the mat as we close out our practice. I encourage you to stay here in this final savasana for a little bit longer. How many breaths can you commit to not moving for? Even if it's just one. Till we are together again, I hope that you'll take time every day to do something nice for yourself, to think good thoughts, to speak good words, to eat good foods and do good deeds and nourish yourself from the inside out. Thank you so much for coming today, for taking some of my energy, for putting some of yours out there. As we focus on ourselves and feel better, we do better. We're nicer to those around us. And we're not selfish. As we improve, others around us also have the opportunity to improve. It is, I can't even think of the word. Oh my gosh. You know, it's like harmonious. We're all working together. You're not out there by yourself. We are one. As always, the light within me honors, sees, and is so thankful for the light within you. So please keep shining and have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste.